Hello everybody, welcome to the Coaching Conversation. I'm Graham Wiley and I've been coaching business leaders for the last 2 decades. In this series we're going to explore some of the things I've seen and learned in that 2 decades and hopefully help you see how you can become more focused, more effective and hopefully happier in your life. So it's now time to sit back, relax and enjoy the Coaching Conversation. Hello everybody. I'm Graham Wiley and this is the Coaching Conversation. Today, I'd like to talk about leadership and management. As a coach, virtually every coaching program I've run, there's been some form of requirement from the coachee to improve either or both of those skills. Often, they mix them up. Often, they start interchanging them as though they're the same thing. So the first thing I'm going to do is explain to you the difference between leadership and management in case you're not so sure, and explain where they fit in to being an effective business leader in today's world. Along the way, I'll probably give you some examples of the sorts of situations I've seen people find themselves in and how they've found their way out of them. So, back to the beginning and the definition of leadership and the definition of management. Management is the organisation of resources to produce outputs. It's the organisation of people, time, money, machines, materials, whatever it takes to do whatever is required to get done. And the quality of a manager is measured by the amount of output he produces versus the amount of inputs he puts in. And that he could be a she, could be anybody in a position of authority. Because one of the aspects of management is it comes from authority. You are the boss. You are the person responsible, authorised, required to get the outputs done. Now, managers can manage in many, many different ways. They can be dictatorial, they can be participative, they can be coaching, they can be affiliative, they can do it in very many different ways. But the actual process is as I've described. It's organising those resources to singularly produce those outputs. And managers, in that context, are professionals. They are people who have to hone their skills to get all those things done. And so very often, really, really good managers have very, very specific skills associated with very specific trades or professions, industries, sectors. But the generality of it is that these people are able to manage people because they understand what the outputs are and what it takes by way of inputs to produce them. Leadership is an entirely different thing. Leadership is identifying and creating a vision that other people willingly choose to buy into. It doesn't come from authority. It doesn't come from being the boss. You can't compel someone to follow your vision. You can persuade them. You can show them. You can excite them. You can motivate them, but you can't make them. So a leader is someone who is naturally charismatic, someone who is naturally capable of generating interest in the things that they say or they do, such that people want to follow them. They choose to follow them. It's a completely different focus. It's a completely different job. And whilst a leader can be a manager and a manager can be a leader, they're not the same thing. In many ways, it's similar to sales and marketing. People combine them together and talk about sales and marketing. And whilst they're clearly linked, they are not the same thing. Marketing is a specific focused profession and selling is something else. So in that same way, being a great manager doesn't make you a great leader. Being a great leader doesn't make you a great manager. There are lots of anecdotes around about how good some of the well-known leaders are as managers. Is Richard Branson really a good manager, or is he just a super talented leader, really capable of creating vision and then employs people who are really good at execution? So if you look at the connectivity between leadership and management, without a leader, without a vision of where you're going, how do you know what you want to do? How do you know what the outputs have got to be? How do you know what you've got to make? Without a vision, without this is where we're going, guys, this is what we're going to be when we grow up, this is what we're trying to achieve, without that spirit and momentum and focus, where does the manager know what to do? Where does the manager know where to put the priorities? Where does the manager know how to organise the resources? And so leadership is about direction. It's about the North Star. It's about the where we're going to piece. It can include, and usually does, the why. We're doing this for these reasons, and they might be very money-orientated reasons. They may be very social responsible reasons. There could be any sort of reason, but they're a compelling reason as to why you're doing and going in this direction. And without that leadership, you absolutely cannot have effective management. So as a coach, I very often find senior managers, business leaders who have not understood that definition. And they've not understood the difference. And so they've not honed those two skills separately. They've mixed up management with the word leadership and think they have to manage in a particular way to be a leader, or they don't do the leadership piece and they just micromanage people, or they overmanage a situation that really just needs direction. And in many organisations, and I say this having coached people at all levels from around the world, some of the best leaders that I've met are absolutely nothing more than salesmen, because they haven't got a clue how to actually get anything done. There was a gentleman I knew who sold his business for a life-changing sum of money. The business had never ever made any profit. But it had been a startup, he created it. But he created this vision of how he was going to revolutionise that industry. And a big trade partner or a competitor bought into that vision and took it on. And they followed that vision. They quadrupled the business, but it was their management expertise that turned that vision into a reality. There was no way that entrepreneur was ever going to be able to do that. That would just simply wouldn't have happened. He would have probably gone bust. A lady that I know runs a professional services business, and she is charismatic. She absolutely drives her staff crazy with the latest idea of what she wants to do with the organisation. What they don't see, because she pops up with these ideas fairly regularly, is that actually these ideas are extremely coherent, and she does actually have a major long-term plan. And what she's doing is laying sort of breadcrumbs for them to follow. She's not treating them like idiots, but as her ideas develop and the organisation progresses, she lays more breadcrumbs and it goes further forward. In her head, she has said it out loud to a very senior management team. She knows exactly where she wants the organisation to be in 5 years' time. But she's taking the whole organisation on that journey. She's quite a good manager in the sense that she does know how to organise resources and get things done. But she's got better people than her to do that. And she spends most of her time either creating the vision or involving other stakeholders, suppliers, clients, to actually make it a reality or to sell it so that they buy into it as well. So there you have it. Management and leadership. They are not the same thing. They are linked. You can be really good at one or the other. It's great if you're good at both. An organisation absolutely needs both and will probably flounder with only one of the two. This has been the Coaching Conversation. My name's Graham Wiley. I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope you found that useful and interesting. I hope it's helped you understand the difference between management and leadership. If you want to find out more about us and our coaching programs, you can find out on our website, the executivemindset.co.uk. You can send me an email, which is theexecutivemindset@sagegreen.com. I've really enjoyed going through management leadership with you and hope you've enjoyed it, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye. So, there you have it, the latest edition of the Coaching Conversation. Hope you found it interesting, hope you found it useful. You can find out more about our coaching programs at theexecutivemindset.co.uk. If you want to reach out, you can send me an email at theexecutivemindset@sagegreen.com. You can book a free 30-minute session at theexecutivemindset.co.uk, which will give you a really good feel for how coaching could help you. And if you really enjoyed the session, do please rate us, do please give us a review. And nothing more for me to say other than see you next time.